Hi guys, welcome to my coffee show. My name is Jack and today we are talking about a multi-purpose burrs from SSP. We're going to play with 64 and 83mm multi-purpose burrs from SSP, and to do so we obviously need some grinders, so we're going to use DF64 Gen 2 and DF83V. What I'm planning to do today, and I've been thinking about this video for a long time, in my head I was changing the way I'm going to do it. First, let me introduce those two grinders just quickly. I talked about them a lot in my previous video, so just a quick recap, and then we will talk about coffee. Taste of the coffee, what you can expect from those burrs. Are there any major differences between those two sizes? It should be a very interesting video. If you're as excited as myself, definitely click like, sit tight and enjoy. First of all, big thank you to Joe from Espresso Outlet for sending us both of those grinders. I will put his links in the description if you wanna buy any coffee grinders, coffee machines or whatever you can think of coffee related. Well, check his website. Putting them side by side, two completely different grinders, but there are some similarities. Obviously they made by the same company from China. DF64, well-known grinder. That grinder together with Niche Zero, they started that coffee revolution, single dose coffee grinder. And DF83V, it's the flagship, there's something that you can call an endgame grinder. DF64, it's upright incline. DF83V, it sits on the stand and it's more parallel. DF83V, obviously it's a bigger grinder, but depending from which side you look at it, it does not look as big. Weighs 9 kg, so slightly lighter than the previous version DF83. Now DF64, even though it's smaller, it weighs just 2 kg less, 6.8 kg. Both of them they made mostly out of metal. Both of them they come with the catching cup. DF83V, it has the magnetically attached chute. Both of them they have that on and on switch on the side. DF64, it has only one switch, and in my version that switch is made out of plastic. DF83V, it comes with two switches, like a main on and off switch and then on and off for the grinder. People often criticize that rubber bit around the main switch. I don't mind this, but I would prefer the main switch to be on the back of the grinder or somewhere else. You can find grind indicator on both of those grinders. They use different solutions. There is a sticker on DF83V and there is a metal collar on top of the DF64 Gen 2. Both of them use a rubber blower with a wooden cap on top. DF64 Gen 2 comes with obviously 64mm burrs. Mine came with standard steel Chinese made burrs, and those burrs are parallel here. DF83V comes with vertical burrs, and there is also that auger there that may work as a kind of pre-breaker, and it feeds the beans into the main burrs. My version came with DLC coated burrs. My one also came with another set of burrs for the pour over. Both grinders come with plasma generators, so that helps to reduce the static. Engines, huge difference. DF64 Gen 2 comes with 250 watts of power AC engine. DF83V comes with brushless DC motor, 680 watts of power, and that engine allows for regulated RPM. So this grinder, the huge advantage of this grinder, on the side you find that knob that you can turn. It works between 300 and 1600, and you can change it by 100, and this actually means a lot. This can change a lot. I have a dedicated video about regulated RPMs if you want to have a look, because RPMs can influence the flavors and you cannot change RPMs on DF64 Gen 2. I will be using 1400 RPMs on my DF83V just to match DF64. Change the burrs on both of those grinders relatively easy. With DF64 Gen 2 you have to remove the indicator first, you open the top, 6 screws in total and job done. The same with DF83V. I like to put it on the back, it's easier for me to remove those burrs. Don't forget to find the 0 point, don't forget to calibrate the grinders, especially when you change to SSP burrs. The touching point might be somewhere else completely. On both of those grinders it's very easy to do it, but I prefer the solution on DF83V. Now, SSP is well known for making good quality burrs. We all know them. We all heard at least about SSP burrs. Different burrs have a different geometry, different cutting edges. Therefore, when the beans goes through, they cut them into different pieces. Water penetrates those pieces, those particles slightly differently, and that's what changes the flavors in the either pour over or espresso. If you look at both 64 and 83mm SSP multi-purpose burrs, well, they are some of the best looking burrs out there. Golden, shiny, well, I like to look at them. Obviously there is a noticeable difference in the size, but otherwise they look very, very similar. One thing that you need to remember when you put those SSP burrs, the noise will be slightly different than you know from standard burrs. Also time of grinding will be different. SSP multi-purpose burrs tend to be slower. Okay, I've been talking a lot, but now the most important part of this video, the taste differences between those two burrs. One way or another, I've been testing those burrs for the last good few months. In my recent test, though, those that I've done this week, I've been mostly using this coffee, so that's the Horsham coffee roasters, that's the Colombian Geisha light roast coffee, high acidity, very nice fruity aromas. And I also went for this one, more medium roast coffee from St. Martin's Coffee Roaster. Here more like a chocolatey but also fruity strawberry aromas. And for pour overs, I've been using this artisan roast coffee roasters, that coffee from Colombia, but this is a very interesting coffee. It's an anaerobic, naturally processed coffee. Not everybody would approve this coffee for pour overs, but it can taste delicious. For espresso, I've been using trendy 6-bar profile on decent, 18 grams of coffee in, 54 grams of liquid out, and waffle filter basket. For pour overs, in my recent test, I've been using Oria V4 with that apex attachment. Obviously there is a video about Oria as well if you're interested. So my findings here, let's start with the espresso. Not necessarily the easiest process to dial in the coffee with those burrs. Obviously I managed to do it, I'm a talented home barista. The shots, especially if you use light roast coffee, don't expect them to look pretty. In terms of the taste, expect sharpness and expect clarity. Both of those sizes, both of those grinders, they can produce extremely tasty coffee. The differences were subtle here, but when you concentrate it hard enough, and I've done many blind tastes, DF83 it feels deeper. The notes on both are sharp, but in DF64 it is almost like a painful sharpness. Not just the pleasant flavor notes are magnified, but also those maybe some bitterness somewhere in the background. There is no overall melody in the cup. Not in every cup. I had some superb cups. With 83 burrs, you get a little bit more depth. There is also sharpness. Don't take me wrong. There is a sharpness, but it's less painful. It's a more pleasant overall experience. DF64, the shots, they feel thinner. DF83, they feel thicker. In terms of pure extraction percentage, they were about the same. There were differences in within 1%. Yes, I had some shots that I was not sure which is which, but on average 70% of the time I went for 83V as a more satisfying, more pleasant shot. With the pour over, similar story but slightly different, because both cups were very good. DF64, DF83, I like them both, but there was a difference. DF64 flatter, more two-dimensional. Those 83mm burrs, they open up the flavors more. There was more depth, more sweet juiciness, while there was more sourness and maybe slight hint of bitterness in the background of the DF64. In isolation, I would enjoy each of those cups, but DF83, those 83mm MP burrs were a clear winner here. So guys, if you reached to this part of the video, well done you. That means you are a big fan of the show. You may as well click like. You may even consider subscribing to the channel. In the comments, feel free to share your own experience. Feel free to argue with me about my findings. Just remember, I'm on a YouTube, so I'm always right. If you consider those MP burrs, 64, 83, they can be great. Just remember, they can be more tricky than the standard burrs to dial in, and the results might be challenging. If you use a very, very good quality coffee, it can enhance, it can magnify all those nuances, those pleasant flavor notes. If you use shitty coffee, well, it will also magnify, but it will magnify the shittiness. If you don't know which grinder to choose, DF64 or DF83, go for DF83V. It's simply a better grinder. DF64 by itself is perfect. In that $400 range is one of the best grinders you can find there. There is one huge advantage of DF83V. I kind of mentioned that at the beginning, regulated RPMs. Those MP burrs would really benefit from different RPMs. In fact, in my first tests, I forgot about about it, and I was using that DF83V on 800, and it was much better shot after shot after shot, until I realized I have to put those RPMs up, and then it was slightly less clear which one is better. If you only take one advice from today's video, especially for the 64mm burrs, run the shot fast, especially if you use medium roast coffee. Run the shot in 22 seconds, for example, because the longer you pull, the more of that bitterness you extract. And well, not sure about you, but I hate bitterness. I can accept almost any level of sourness, but I hate bitterness in my coffee. But for today, thank you very much for watching. My name is Jack, this is my coffee show, and hopefully I will see you soon. Thank you, bye!